Week 2 began with a well-deserved rest day for the bikes in Iquique as the cars head to Bolivia for the first time on their Dakar. For Mark Comer and KTM, the lead of the rally is within touching distance, but without a market change in fortune, he knows it will be a struggle to close the gap to John Barreda. Marathon stages will challenge man and machine in all the classes, with the bikes, cars and quads all piercing Bolivian altitude, before the race loops back to Buenos Aires for its climax at the end of Week 2. And the cars are first to break the ground, 321 Ks of special in the third country of the Dakar, Bolivia. And we say, bienvenido in Bolivia. After the bikes last year, this time the car crews were welcomed in style. All eyes, of course, were on the rally leader Nasser Al-Attiyah. Would he be conservative or try to hit even harder? Taking off first, there wasn't much he could do about the chasing armada of rivals through the virgin Bolivian terrain. Fourth in the first two specials of the rally, Christoph Holowicz was again in the top four in the first stage in Bolivia. The Polish driver is also fourth overall, not that far from a podium spot. And there's no stopping Yazid Al-Raji in his first Dakar. The Saudi carries on going full blast. He took second spot on the stage, third overall. He even managed to gain time on De Villiers, only 13 minutes ahead. But once again, Orlando Terranova took advantage of his late starting position. The Argentine and his Mini went on to clinch his third stage success. That's his fifth special on a Dakar. The car crews then became mechanics to service what was needed on the cars and hope that their preparations were enough to see them on the return journey. The trucks too had a marathon, looping south for over 400 Ks to their lonely place in the wilderness. The trucks rode the dunes of Chile for their marathon. Our race leader, Edward Nikolaev, was the first to start, but he soon ran into problems and began to lose time. He lost the lead of the race to his teammate, Mardeev. With his truck repaired after some damage from the day before, Karganov started ripping up the terrain. The times were close and he ended up third, just 6 minutes down. But the winner on the day was Alex Lopez. He made up time that he lost the day before, and it was his birthday, a fine celebration. Lepres is a true specialist in the truck category, and he opened his cab to show us who does what in a truck.
My name is Alex Lepres. I'm truck Dakar pilot, but in our truck cat we are three. As in a car, we have a co-pilot, Ferran Marco from Spain, and Jan van der Weijt in the middle like a mechanic. It's a big toy. Big suspension, big wheels, big screen, a really loud horn. You can do a lot of crazy things, and here, especially people in South America, they love it.
My job in the truck is to control all the settings of the engine, the tire pressure. I can see everything here about the temperature of the engine. And some things, you see, I have a speed limitation. I can see the temperature of the oil, the pressure, and the turbo boost. And here I can set all the tire pressure if we want.
My job basically is take care about the road book and the way we are going on, which actually is the same in a car or in a truck.
It's a really team job. There is a lot of work for three people when we need to keep the speed. Sometimes it's even three are not enough. So that's the Dakar.
Into Bolivia for the bikes, following the trail of the cars to the lofty plateau of Uyuni. But on the day, things changed. After managing the gap so well for so long, today it halved between Barreda and Coma. He had his first crash of the year, and it was a big one, breaking the handlebar. He rode nearly 100 Ks, one-handed. Push, push, push and hope for the best was what Coma was doing, and he rode his own race. Starting behind Barreda, he caught and passed him before checkpoint 1. From then on, he put the hammer down and took back 6 minutes from the leader's time advantage. But it came good for Paulo Gonçalves. Starting third, he caught Price and Rodriguez, rode with them before headache struck late on, but he kept pushing, and importantly, he beat Coma, albeit by just 14 seconds, to close it on the overall. A long special for the car crews, with a first part in Bolivia, then a second short section in the dunes of Iquique. Amazing scenery in the morning for the Dakar heroes. The famous Salar de Uyuni, the largest salt flat in the world. And the Bolivians came in their numbers to witness the Dakar atmosphere. And like in the good old days, the competitors took off 5 by 5. Full speed ahead, enjoy the show. After struggling with altitude sickness, things went a lot better on the second day in Bolivia for Nasser Al-Attiyah. He was impressive on the Salar, outpacing Peter Hansel. Despite a wheel issue, he increased his overall lead.
Today we finish third place. Still Janil behind me. This is our target.
In the fight for a second victory on the Dakar, things were going Janil de Villiers' way in the first part of the special. The South African had indeed gained 3 precious minutes on his rival, despite not having front brakes for the last 70 Ks, but a puncture in the last dune section ruined his day. He finished 4th, losing 2nd to Al-Attiyah. At last, that awaited stage success came for Yazid Al-Raji. Second, the day before, he claimed his first ever victory on the way to Iquique. Also the first for a Saudi driver, and that win probably calls for many others. Al-Raji is 3rd overall, now 10 minutes behind de Villiers. But nothing was quite as dramatic as Robbie Gordon's descent at the dunes to the bivouac. That's one more. Not easy. Not easy, this one. My nerves are giving way. Oh yeah? Congratulations. It's a good job, my friend. It's good. Stage 8 saw the first ever Dakar crossing of the Salar de Uyuni on bikes, but it's far from a simple task. Rain, slow, consistent rain, dampening and flooding the expanse of the high-altitude Salar, coupled with an air temperature of just 2 degrees Celsius at the start, made for an unpleasant and treacherous prospect for the bikes. And so, 30 abreast, the leaders set off, the sun of yesterday long gone, and a bitter fight ahead of them to reach the relative safety of the far shore. The time gaps were never huge on the flat-out stage, but in truth the enemy was not the route, but the biting wind, the still surface water, and the ever-present threat of drowsiness as tired minds relaxed into the monotone rhythm of hundreds of kilometers flat out, fighting the drop in temperatures, and of course, the salt. It was at the checkpoint at kilometre 267 that it came alive, with riders trying desperately to resuscitate drowned and encrusted bikes, including Mark Comer.
Tu as changé la pompe? Oui. Essayez de changer avant et derrière.
Cuidado.
After changing the fuel pump, Comer tried frantically to start his bike. Eventually, with the help of his teammates, he got the bike going, and his race was still on. But Barreda was in much more serious trouble. Eventually, Gonçalves had to make his own way, leaving Barreda and Israel stranded. Riding the bike of Israel, Barreda towed his own machine out of the checkpoint and back onto the stage, as Comer took to the lead of the race. Way ahead, two men came into the final dune, separated by 1 second. Joan Pedrero and Stefan Fitko. On the descent of the gigantic dunes, Pedrero was the strongest and won the duel by 1 second. But everyone was beaten by Pablo Quintanilla. He won by 11 seconds. Though once over the line, his bike wouldn't restart, and pushing it home, sapped his last remaining energy after his first ever Dakar victory. Comer made it to the end and now leads the race by 9 minutes. It was an extreme day. The truth is that we're really at the limit. It was raining a lot on the Salar with very little visibility and sometimes a metre of water. The energy was going for Barreda as he languished 90 minutes behind in heavy terrain. The question is, would his Dakar end in Bolivia? It didn't, but it was 7:30 when three lonely Hondas limped back to the bivouac in Iquique.
Al final, cuando pasan esas cosas,
At the end, when these things happen, we need to think why they happen. But it's complicated. Next year, maybe we need to bring a jet ski. Honda were hopeful that the final day in Chile would be more profitable as we climbed into the Atacama Desert and Calamar. By kilometre 64, the four-strong group of HRC riders was driving a wedge amongst them riders ahead of them. Working as a team, they gained time hand over fist until all four sat atop the timesheets at checkpoint 2. Comer was the best of the rest. He is the rally leader and his tactics have changed. An early navigation error cost him a few minutes. Unfortunately for him, the time he lost was to his closest rival, Paulo Gonçalves. For the second time in the rally, Helder Rodriguez stormed the opposition. Late in the race, he put the hammer down and forced the pace.